Bruce Cassidy ranks third among coaches in the NHL.com Super 16. Details coming up next right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to download America's #1 sportsbook. Is Bruce Cassidy one of the top 3 coaches in the National Hockey League? Well, according to NHL.com's Super 16 poll, Cassidy ranks third behind John Cooper of the Lightning, who has won a couple of Stanley Cups, Paul Maurice, who just won his very first cup, and I believe it's a worthy ranking, Chris, and Cassidy has won a cup here in Las Vegas and a Game 7 away in Boston from winning cup number 2. What are your thoughts about Cassidy being ranked third? We both think that he's a terrific coach, and I think he's right where he should be in these rankings, personally.
100%. John Cooper, plenty of accolades that gets him in the #1 spot. Paul Maurice finally gets that Stanley Cup that's been eluding him for a very, very long time, and gave some great sound bites and stuff along the way. So certainly worthy of #2. Cassidy coming in at #3. That's right where he should be. I was kind of scrolling down the list here, seeing if there's anyone where I'm like, ooh, this person maybe should be a little bit higher. I mean, did Mike Sullivan coach all those Penguins teams when they won the cups right before Vegas came in?
Been around for a minute, yeah.
Because if Mike Sullivan might be the only one who maybe, I mean, I don't know. My general reaction to this list, anyone who has a Stanley Cup should be higher than anyone who does not have a Stanley Cup. Pete DeBoer comes in at 4. I'm sure we'll talk more about the non-VGK people on the list later. But yeah, no, Cassidy is definitely in the right place. If you want to make an argument for like a Mike Sullivan, someone who's got multiple cups, obviously we could argue about that too.
Okay, and DeBoer outcoached Bruce Cassidy according to the Christopher rankings.
I agree. He did. A lot of things went right there.
He comes in at #4. But what's good about Cassidy? I think he's good, really good with in-game adjustments. I think that's one of the keys, I think, to his success. And I think, postseason, he's won 53% of his games in the postseason. So pretty good record there. And again, he's got 1 cup. And 1 cup that was elusive there, coming down to a Game 7, which, is a pretty much toss-up. And that was a toss-up game, by the way, too.
It was, but St. Louis kind of dominated for the most part. I remember that game pretty well, actually. I remember I had a lot of fantasy hockey implications in that game, Tony. That's how I remember. I was a power play goal away from beating a bunch of poker pros in a pretty high buy-in fantasy hockey thing, so that was pretty exciting for me. But no, I mean, back to the Stanley Cups. I mean, that certainly is kind of where I want to just focus on this list here. I think DeBoer maybe comes in a little bit high. I mean, DeBoer's done a ton of great things, obviously, in his time in Vegas, in Dallas, going back to New Jersey, and, of course, San Jose, but no Stanley Cup. Back to Bruce Cassidy a little bit here. It's kind of jumping all over the place. It's not just about Cassidy's Stanley Cups, but he did have an amazing run, obviously, with Boston. We talked about his Game 7 loss, of course, but being in the playoffs for every season he was at the helm still got him fired. Tough league in the NHL is these days to stay employed. Going down the list, I mean, I just think Sullivan should be higher, at least than DeBoer. Maybe not. You could argue about Cassidy. Brendan Moore, no cup. Peter Laviolette, didn't he win a cup a long time ago?
Long time ago, probably. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know, but he had a good season with the Rangers. I think, what have you done for me lately? Recency bias, right, is
always
definitely playing in. A Bednar could have been ranked higher, I think.
I was wondering about that. Bednar seemed pretty low. I mean, speaking of recency bias, Stanley Cup winner, Avalanche have been a Stanley Cup contender, for the last 5 seasons now, something like that, last 4 seasons?
For sure. No, absolutely. And they won a cup in there. So I think, you have to consider him at some point. And then Jim Montgomery's up there. Rick Tockett's 10th. John Tortorella 11th. Craig Berube, Chris Knobloch, Andrew Burnett, Sheldon Keefe of New Jersey now. Try to keep track of where all these coaches are. And Lindsey Ruff of Buffalo is ranked 16th. And so I think it's a pretty interesting list and something to talk about. It's just ironic that the top 3 coaches, all with the Florida ties, right? We've got South Beach Bruce at number 3. That's his tie-in.
You would find a way to make 3 coaches fit in 2 Florida slots there, Tony. John Tortorella kind of stood out to me, and just pulling up his lifetime stats here, so to speak. Tortorella is a very mid coach. Obviously, he won a cup in 03-04 with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then he's been in the playoffs. Looks like more times than he has not been in the playoffs, but it's a lot of lost in round 1, lost in round 2. One other conference final in 11-12 is coaching your Rangers, Tony. And yeah, it's Tortorella, Paul Maurice, Pete DeBoer. I guess you can kind of put them all in the same bucket, so to speak. They're the same coach as far as results go. Obviously, Paul Maurice finally has a Stanley Cup, so he gets elevated up a little bit. So yeah, it's a fun list to go over. I think Cassidy is certainly in the right place. I don't really see anyone. Berube obviously has a cup with the Blues, not a lot else. Knobloch coming in at 13. Okay, that's aggressive for a coach who hasn't even completed a full NHL season at the helm yet, but maybe he is that guy. I don't know. Andrew
Good
Burnett,
upside.
Sheldon Keefe. Yeah.
And Lavalette did win a Stanley Cup with Carolina 06, I think, back in the day. So
what's interesting is scrolling down.
We forget.
Yeah, no, it's interesting scrolling down to how the different writers ranked the coaches. So I'm just seeing how the farthest Cassidy sinks.
He was 7. He was 8. He was 8. David Satriano had him at 8.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's really low.
Yeah. Again, maybe they're not taking the. You said, what was his name? David what?
Satriano.
Okay, there he is. So John Cooper, Paul Maurice, Rod Brindamore, no cups. Pete DeBoer, no cups. Mike Sullivan, a couple cups. Jim Montgomery, no cups. Peter Laviolette, it's been a while, and Bruce Cassidy. That's, I don't know. I think David was having a bad day when he was doing this list.
There were three of these writers had Cassidy ranked 7th too, though. So Brindamore,
he got as high as 2 by a couple of writers also.
Yeah, he got as high as number 2. Brindamore is pretty interesting, right? Just a solid, consistent coach. He's ranked 6th in the top 16 or Super 16, as they're calling it. It's a pretty interesting mix in there for him.
Brindamore is the type of coach that will make his players run through a brick wall for you. He's got just this motivational side of him where he can get more out of his players. And that's just not just the superstars, but more from the fourth liners, more from the third liners, more from the fringe NHL guys who, go up and down throughout the season between them. And I think they're back with the Chicago Wolves in the American League now. So Brindamore is certainly a great coach. I would love to see him win a Stanley Cup with the Hurricanes. Will he go to Paul Maurice route and is going to take another 10, 12 years? I don't know.
Cooper's coaching in the Four Nations face-off. He is, believe it or not, John Cooper currently is the longest tenured coach in the NHL.
He's been there for a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute, right? And then what about Maurice? Cassidy, of course, is coaching in the Four Nations. Maurice, no, right? I haven't seen him named to any coaching staff there, right? No,
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah. Okay, so just curious about that, but definitely interesting. And yes, Cassidy definitely knows the game. I think he's really good with the media. I think he explains to the common fan what happened on the ice or what's about to occur. I think he's pretty good for the most part. He became a little bit too VGK in season 2, the company man, a little bit, no. But again, let's see.
They signed his paycheck, so what do you expect them to do?
Right. So this will be season 3. It could be a pretty interesting campaign ahead. Life of a VGK coach is not very long. So that's
No,
shelf
and
life, and we'll see what happens this season. Do the players begin that are still here? Do they start to tune out? That's usually what's happened in Cassidy's career. Is he going to make those adjustments so they aren't a team that you can read pretty easily? Because, hey, let's face it, the structure of this team, especially offensively, I thought they caught up. The rest of the league caught up a little bit last season. Let's see what adjustments he makes heading into his third season here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole segment in itself. So let's just give a couple quick hitters. Number one, first of all, John Cooper, been since 2012, 2013. So we're going way back with Tampa and then Syracuse before Norfolk in the American League. So, and the Green Bay Gamblers in USHL. Let's go.
Let's go.
But no, real fast, just a couple of things about Cassidy. I mean, number one, yeah, the shelf life of VGK coaches, 2.5 years, guys. It's 2.5 years. I have been very clear that if this is a rough season for the Vegas Golden Knights, if come January they're 11 points out of a playoff spot, if they, if it's not clicking, if it's not there, it could happen. It could happen. It is the VGK coaching seat is always pretty warm, to say the least. And Cassidy comes into the season not nearly with the same amount of security as last season. You win a Stanley Cup, that gives you a season, fine, whatever. But again, Gerard Gallant did pretty well. Took him 2.5 years. Pete DeBoer, 2 trips to the conference final, not good enough. So again, I'm not saying Coach Cassidy's getting fired. I'm not saying anything like that. But if things don't go well, if, like Tony said, the adjustments aren't there, if the reaction to the younger players isn't there, if the team just isn't getting it done, and in January it's not looking good, I mean, how weird would that be if Cassie's out there coaching the Four Nations with handing out resumes at the same time?
Yeah, pretty interesting. And I did see an interview with him at the golf tournament, and he said he's back in hockey mode.
What do you say about Colasar? What do you say about Colasar?
He said something to the effect that he doesn't think that this guy could lead the team.
Oh, you stop it. He did mention Colasar could be a type of player who steps into a leadership role with the team. Something I've been saying for 3 weeks now, folks. Get with the program.
That's good. No, he said that getting together, boy, just to be a fly on the wall with all those personalities in the room. But he did have his first meetings with the Four Nations coaching staff, and he said it got him back into hockey mode.
I bet there was beer involved in those meetings.
There had to be. It had to be on the Cape. It had to be on Cape Cod. I just see a beach setting there. So
it's not a bad thing, folks. Let's be clear. No. It's okay. It's okay.
Coming up next. Yeah. You done? Go ahead.
I'm good. I'm just like I'm
sleep
awake.
In the eyes. Okay.
Are we recording still?
Yeah, we're on. Okay. We're on the air.
Hot
VGK Fan Fest is coming to downtown Summerlin Sunday, October the 6th. We'll tell you all about it next on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. We want to tell you about FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. And yesterday, they probably got some good two-way betting there on San Francisco and my Jetsies, who were not very good. How could you be tired in the opening game of the season? How could that be? We have a little something different for you. Head shake. Okay. A little something for you, a little different. Now through September the 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial subscription of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with the YouTube television base plan, you'll be able to watch each and every regular season afternoon out-of-town market, out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel this at any time. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. You could find us wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. So my nephew lives in Boston, right? Did I tell this story yesterday? I'm still sleepy. He lives in Boston.
I'm just looking up Touch a Truck right now.
Okay. He lives in Boston, takes a photo the other day. It's a photo of someone wearing a UNLV football shirt. in Boston on a street corner. And I tell my nephew, because my nephew lives there, and he's like, why would someone be wearing a UNLV football shirt in Boston? I take a look at the photo. I know that guy. He's like, no, you don't. No. I know that guy. His name is Dave Pappas. Just a small world, right? So I send Dave the picture and I go, hey, man, are you in Boston right now? Like, it's just kind of a random, strange question. And then he's just laughing hysterically. Yeah, that's me. Who else would be there? But he's on a street corner in Boston, of all places. And he posted on Facebook yesterday.
He wasn't
saying,
walking out of some like illicit business or anything, was he?
No, but isn't that funny? He's back there with the wife. Shout out to Dave Pappas. It is a small world, and my nephew thinks that I know everyone everywhere. So it was kind of good. I still have it. A little bit. I still have the touch. But he posted it on Facebook and said, how random is this? He took the photo because I had the picture, sent it to him, and Dave put it up on Facebook and said, how random is this? Tony Cardasco's nephew sees me wearing a UNLV shirt in Boston. Okay. Also random.
We got eyes everywhere, folks. We got eyes everywhere.
We do have eyes everywhere. So the VGK Fan Fest, any stories of drinking beers with any players at Fan Fest? Anything? Because you always seem everything always goes back to
That's the
drinking.
gala. And that's even been slowed down a little bit. The first VGK gala that was at the World Market Center inside one of those tents of all places. That was just a dream come true of a night, as far as just a sports fan's dream. Getting lit the hell up with the players. It was fun.
That's fun.
But no, the Fan Fest stuff it's cool. I went there last year. It's on the lawn area at Summerlin. Much better than when they used to have this. You
didn't like it downtown? You didn't like it downtown? There was a lot of people there.
It was a cluster.
Uh-huh.
And you're limited in what you can do too. You have a stage, and that's it. So now they can spread things out a little bit. This is at least the second year they've been downtown Summerlin. I don't know if it's the third year, but I remember going there last year. There's different areas set up where the players, you can obviously meet the players, get a quick interaction, quick photo, and move on. There's a lot of other things happening. They got the ball hockey set up, other activities. They're going to have a touch-a-truck there. Just had to look up what touch-a-truck meant. That just seemed weird, but it's when they have like all the police vehicles or construction and stuff like that where the kids can go and check things out. So that wasn't nearly as exciting as I thought it was.
Oh, it's like a display.
Exactly,
display.
yeah. Exactly.
Did you go to the match last year where at the Vegas Thrill I asked the Nevada Army National Guard if they could bring out a tank, and they did? Remember, we brought out a tank.
But I remember talking about
family
that.
Forum. Yeah, we brought out a tank.
You're gonna need that tank if you try to go to T-Mobile this year.
I asked them if they could.
You're gonna get stuff pelted at you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm not going there. But yeah, I'm going to need that armored protection for sure. So some of the players are going to show up. Bruce Cassidy
and Cassidy are going to be there. I saw
McCrimmon's going to be there. Like, when was the last time, other than winning the Stanley Cup, that there was like a public facing for McCrimmon? Was he there last year?
I don't remember if he was. I don't remember if Cassidy was there, to be fair. But I mean, if McCrimmon's going to be there, like signing autographs and meeting the fans, that's pretty cool.
Signing autographs for how much would that be worth? Yeah, go ahead, man.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know how much he signs. Like, I don't think he signs a lot, but I don't know. It depends on what's on a picture of. If it's on a Jonathan Marchessault, a Nashville Predators jersey type picture, it might be worth a little bit more. Just
wouldn't that be great though? Show up with a Marchessault jersey and ask him to sign it.
Especially if it's a Preds jersey.
That would be kind of fun. That would be fun.
Listen, and you know what? Maybe McCrimmon's the coolest person in the world. Maybe he just leans right into it. Maybe he just plays it out and has a great interaction with the fans. Like, that would be absolutely awesome. I mean,
he's too serious to be. Yeah, he's too serious.
Maybe, but he's done some in interviews. A different side of him does come out, especially with the Canadian interviews. That's all
the Canadian. That's all he does. Okay, duh.
There's like, especially
how many
when
times have I said duh on the show the last couple of weeks? I've said duh a lot.
Especially when he does like a 45 minute interview where, maybe 15 minutes is hardcore Golden Knights business and the rest of it is just, hamming over stories and stuff like that. McCrimmon is a very interesting person to listen to. And I just wonder what it's like when, not in the confines of a business environment, with a drink in hand. And, I bet he's a lot of fun. And I think it would be kind of cool if he did lean into things, if a fan did give him, some type of playful crap, if you will, sort of speak about Marchessault and Logan Thompson for that matter, and a couple of the other situations. And, like, have fun with it. What else can you do, right? What
Yeah.
else can you do at this point? Have fun with
So,
it. Smile, lean into it, take one
yeah,
on the chin if a fan wants to give it to you, and move on.
I like events like this. It's good for the family. You could take everyone out there.
Absolutely.
Should be a really nice time there in October. It's always beautiful here, early October. It's on the
Beautiful
lawn
area
there.
too, easy to get
Summerlin.
around. Even when it's crowded, it's not that crowded. Like it's.
So they shut. We didn't do this obviously during the pandemic, but are those the only two places where they've done these fan fests, or downtown and in Summerlin?
No, I believe they did. Well, yes, downtown. So it was either downtown, actually
Las
on
Vegas,
Fremont Street, or I think
Fremont
they did
Street.
one actually in the event center behind downtown over there.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure.
So, and
Absolutely.
that
I don't
honestly, I
remember
didn't
that
go to
one.
that one, but that was probably a better environment because it's spread out, it's big, it's still downtown, but it's a lot better than just on Fremont Street when, it's a big cluster of a lot of weird people and stuff. And I'm
Yeah,
not talking
no,
about the weird people who listen to this show, but there's weird people listen to the show. But I'm talking
sometimes.
there's some strange birds on Fremont Street that I choose not to
Yeah,
be
but I
around,
thought for publicity's sake, they got more pub downtown because it's
I
a
mean,
nice
sure, you
visual.
lock everything down and all that, and yeah, you get a ton of people and everything, and
It's a
that's
good
fine.
visual.
But this is better for the fans, and that's
And
good.
you went last year or no?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, and that was in Summerlin.
It was in Summerlin. Yeah, I was there in a
Did you
media
get to talk to
capacity,
any?
I
Yeah.
guess, but I
Did you
didn't get
talk to
any
any players?
special. No, it's about the fans. That's an event where I don't think there's a lot of media opportunity to talk to the players and stuff. Like they'll yeah. So that's all there is to it. It's about the fans. You don't want to take time away, and you get some content, take some pictures, record some videos and stuff. But as far as like interviewing a Zach Whitecloud or Mark Stone, whoever's going to be there, that's not really going to happen. Maybe that'll be different this year. I don't know. I'm not on that email list right now. So
Okay. Coming up next, the Golden Knights are the second heaviest team in the National Hockey League. So I cannot use the Bruno Mars song Finesse going to break. Back with more right after this on Locked On Golden Knights. I must be in midseason form. Back on Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco.
why? Because I'm rolling my eyes at you
You're
and
rolling
giving
your
weird
eyes,
hand
you're
signals to
shaking
you.
your head. I like
you're
this.
good. You're good.
Back on Locked On Golden Knights, of course, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. You can find us wherever you get your podcast. And of course, you can go on Apple, of course, and download the podcast on Spotify. And then make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We appreciate all the comments. Fridays are WTF, and Saturdays, much anticipated, coming to a theater near you, Chris and Chris Jr. That's the YouTube
Bring
exclusive.
popcorn. Bring popcorn.
I like the fact that that's an exclusive. Isn't that kind of cool, though?
Yeah,
Little Chris has got to like that street cred. Oh, someone asked last night on the X, does little Chris still wear his Guardian cap? So give us an update.
Every practice, he's the one reminding me to put it on at the practices.
How cool. That's great.
He wants to keep wearing it. He has no problem wearing it. He has no problem in his interactions with the other players wearing it. No one's out there, for lack of a better term, making mean comments about it or anything like that. So that's a good thing. A lot of the parents have asked me about it, and obviously the benefits, and not just the benefits, but like, is it breathable? Is it heavy? Is it causing any issues in practice? And Chris says it's fine. He doesn't even notice that it's there, and he even makes the comment, "It's as heavy as a Kleenex box. I don't even notice it." So credit to our friends at Guardian Cap for saying the right things and the right buzzwords, and stuck in Chris's head too now.
No, it's terrific, though. It is, because he'll thank you later. He'll thank you later on in life, because all those head injuries that occur, not just in hockey, but in all sports. I was out at Rebel football, UNLV football last night. Every player required to wear them now. And in the future, we will see them on Saturdays, college football games. I believe that as soon as next season. And it could someday be mandated. But Again, if it's cutting down on those concussions, especially in hockey where there were only 80 reported concussions last year, which we think it's much, much more, but in any event. So that's cool. Thanks for that update there.
Yeah.
How could the Golden Knights be ranked second in the national? You don't think of VGK being a heavy team when
Oh,
it
they're a
comes
heavy team, Tony.
to
They're a heavy
weight.
team. They're a
Well,
heavy team.
let's get this straight though.
Okay.
Is
Insert
Robin
William
Leonard's
Carlson
weight in
comment
here?
here.
Is Robin
Oh,
Leonard's weight in here? Sorry, I had to throw that in there. Okay, by weight, they have an average of 205 pounds per player, but it's mostly on the back end, right? It's the defensive guys. When you look at the roster, like Haig is like 6'6", 240. McNabb, 6'4". What is he? 220, something like that. In any event, they're a heavier team than most. And you don't really think of VGK in those terms. Boston, the heaviest team, at 207 pounds. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And I'm kind of surprised, too, by the same token, that the overall average weight is kind of low. They should put us out there, man. They need some beef, right?
they'd get it. So
I can't
I
skate
guess.
worth the lick, but I can, I'll pop someone out there in the corners.
Oh, I'd love to see you try. I
No idea.
the first thing that I'm looking at
Dude,
is
my friends had me play soccer one time, okay? They're playing in a soccer league. For some reason, they need a goon. I'm thrown out of there with, like, what is it, red cards that get you out? I'm out. They threw me out of the game. I hit some guy over the boards, and then I cracked another guy and tripped a third person. And they're going, why do we even invite you? It was beer induced, though, too.
Tony. You shouldn't be out there playing soccer with 12-year-olds doing that to people. It's not nice.
I know, it's not nice. This is pre-Guardian caps, too, so they took a lick. Yeah.
So what I'm looking at here, the weights are what they are. I mean, the difference from first to last is 15 pounds. So, we're not talking a huge amount as far as the difference. But what I am looking at are like the teams in the top 10, playoff teams, not playoff teams. Boston, Vegas, Toronto, Winnipeg, Washington, New York Rangers, playoff teams. Islanders, I don't think made the playoffs last year. Red Wings were close, but they didn't qualify. Canadians, obviously, a long way away. Now let's go on to like the last, I don't know, the bottom or the lightest teams. Colorado Avalanche, playoff team. Flyers, almost. Wild, almost. Panthers are the 29th heaviest team or the fourth lightest team. They come in at 194, tied with Pittsburgh and Dallas. And wow, it's just weird seeing hockey CL period for representing Utah. So, obviously, yeah, you had a lot of really good teams on both sides of this. So I don't know if there's a necessary correlation. If you're a heavy team, your team's going to do better in the NHL. I think it obviously has to do with the right mix, the right blend, the right coaching staff using the players in the way that they should. But there's still an old school environment here, I guess, in Vegas, right? Nice heavy Golden Knights team going to go out there, and it's definitely important that they throw their weight around and they do play a heavy brand of hockey. That's obviously going to help them through some of the struggles that they're going to have as they work through new players, chemistry, your favorite word, Tony. We waited till the 29-minute marker to get that word out there, so it's not bad for
a word of the
Tuesday.
day.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
We had word of the day for a while. Whoever was doing that, get back with the word of the day. Where have you been? That was fun.
I know, that was a lot of fun. So in the division, the Kings are the next best or heaviest to VGK at number 11. Did I read that right? At just
Kings in charge, 11
201.
and 12.
Yeah, just 201 pounds. I found this real interesting. This is from Elite Prospects, by the way. We're not just making this up like all of our other topics on the show. The Golden Knights are the tallest team at 6'3". That's the average at 6'3". So, and it definitely expanded to 6'3" after Marcia was let go there, going free agent.
What gets me about
I didn't realize that 6'3" is the average height.
Yeah, no, Marchessault certainly.
Well, Haig's the tallest, 6'6".
I think so.
Around there?
I would assume so.
6'6". I think they listed him. Yeah.
So
pretty interesting.
What's interesting to me is when you're watching these players out there, what I love, whether it's a game, a practice, or even just, whatever, anytime you're watching professional hockey players, if you get a chance to stand right up at the glass, but at the same ground level as them, I'm not even talking at T-Mobile where you're up a tiny bit, even if you're in the front row. If you're standing on the same level, same platform as they are, and then they come up to the glass and you look at a Tage Thompson, who's probably 6'8" or something like that, definitely coming in probably north of 220, and then imagining getting hit full speed by that person, what that's like. I don't think people will ever have a full grasp, and I've never experienced it. I've had some light hits and stuff in hockey, never anything obviously like that, and it hurts. I've been concussed multiple times out there, and now we're talking about a team full of Tage Thompsons and Nick Hagues, or even a Ryan Reeves who can still throw his body around and hit some people, and Colasar and will carry all these guys that are just, when they're coming at you full speed, even Marchessault at 5'8", 160 pounds, he can hit, and what that must feel like. And that would be a fun, what was it, the Jackass show, if they did, they've done stuff with football players where they just tackle one of the idiots for the Jackass crew, and then whatever. It'd be fun to watch the segment. I've seen him do a segment with PK Subban actually taking slap shots at someone, but I want to see him. I want to see just a regular person just get blown up, just get blown
So hey,
up in a
hey,
check.
6'6", right? With skates on 6'7", is that about another inch or so?
7
2
foot,
inches?
7'9", something like that. 7'10",
With skates. Okay.
He's a
we
big dude. He's a big boy. Add about what, 3 inches for skates? Something
Is
like
it
that.
3 inches? Okay.
Something like that.
Well, last year Eichel had no additional height that one time. Remember,
Actually,
the
probably
blade
about
fell
closer to
off.
6 inches. Well, because it's not just the blade, but it's also the
It's
platform.
the boot. Yeah.
It's probably about
Okay.
6-7 inches, honestly.
Interesting. So that's pretty interesting. But again, second heaviest team at 205 behind Boston 207, and the tallest team in the National Hockey League at 6'3". You asked for it. We give you it all right here. We appreciate everyone.
This was almost a mailbag. I think we got tagged on this.
No, there's no mailbags on this.
This was close, Tony. This one was close.
Okay. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much, wherever you're tuning in around the globe, and especially our everydayers. Thank you so much. Find us wherever you get your podcast. Fridays, WTF, What the Friday, the best show in the entire network, because it's all about you and it's not mailbag-ish. We like that, right?
Kind of is.
Well, they leave comments and we pick them up and scoop them and
Which
score.
is kind of like a mailbag,
score.
right? That's kind of like a mailbag.
No, it's not officially. Well, we could either do mailbags, or we could be the best tweet of the year, I think, in contention is you in Alaska, saying, okay, I've got time. Don't ask me any questions. Don't ask any questions. That was the best one. That was the X of the year. Of course, coming up, Chris and Chris Jr. Coming, the YouTube exclusive sometime this fall maybe, or before, or pre-fall, who knows. For my man, Chris, he ain't heavy, he's my brother, Golick. I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We're talking about heaviest team. Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights, and please take care.